Hey there, friendlies. How's up? Welcome to the 28th of July episode of the Beer Blazing Bushcraft livestream. This week, I'm not entirely sure specifically what I want to talk about. I've got a few things to discuss, and I'm pretty sure that things will get lively no matter how you slice it. I do want to say one thing before we go any further, though, and that's if you are watching time shifted to tomorrow or some point after the actual live part of the live stream, thank you. You are more than welcome to actually have parts of the conversation in the comments section below. I will be looking at that and I will answer comments made. So aside from that, I guess I'll just say I got blades, I got beer, and we're going to be talking about bushcraft. Should I open it now or should I open it later? Hey, Grace, how's it going? Hi, Serge. Mr. Tenenbaum is here. Nice to see you folks showing up. Anybody drinking anything tonight? Serge, do you want to talk about your new camera purchase, your new to you camera purchase? Or am I blowing your secrets here? Hey, HT7's here. Hey, has it been a while since you've been here? I feel like it's been a while, but anyways, welcome back. Hey, Foxit, how is it going, monsieur? For those of you who are wondering what I just did, I just opened the beer with a closed knife so that I don't give myself a scar again. I'm using my Tobermory pint glass, Canadian microbrew with a French-Canadian microbrew. Let's see if I can do this without blowing the head. Sounded vaguely disgusting, to be honest with you. Whoop, 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 whoop. The sadness because you're watching. Hey, Brandon's here too. Tempted to have a drink. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one here who's having a drink at this time. Ace T7. Oh yeah, it's been a while. Yeah. The workbench is finished. Finished it up. I oiled it up. I put a bunch of pictures of it on my Instagramage. Let me just see if I can. Instagram.com. Is it just like /Raindance Bushcraft? Yes, it is. Okay. I mean, there's a link to my Instagramage on my YouTube page anyway, but actually, let me see if I can find you an actual picture of the bench in question. Yes, right here. Boom. Oh, because I'm not logged into Instagram, it won't let me. But excuse me, if you go to my page, the Raindance Bushcraft page, that's Raindance_Bushcraft, and you scroll down like 5 rows of pictures, six-ish, it's right there. Yeah, I'm still jazzed about having that finished, man. It's the biggest thing I've ever built. I kind of wanted a bench for a really long time. I love really old school woodworky things. You know, I love hand tools way more than I like power tools. I think you know that. I mean, I've sung this song for you guys before. I love those old school workbenches with the 3-inch tops on them. I like anything where working with it makes me feel time honored, you know. And my bench is a viceless bench, much to Tyler's chagrin. Is he on yet? Tyler, are you with us yet? No, I don't think so. But yeah, so it's a viceless bench. So I depend completely on holdfasts and like pieces of wood that I use as stops and stuff like that. But yeah, I really like it. It's essentially a viceless Nicholson bench with a certain homage to the old school Rubo in there as well, a little bit channel down the middle. And what I did was the front left hand leg is double wide, so that when I decide to put a leg vise on there, I don't have to like replace the leg or anything. Double wide, so I can just put a chop on it because I'm smart that way. Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. So you went and took a look at the picture, and it's construction lumber, right? It's pine, spruce, or fir. Whatever the framing lumber is. So it wasn't that expensive, and because I was laminating all these pieces together for the top, it's good and solid. Look, these evergreens, they're a softwood, but it's a workbench. I kind of don't care if it gets little divots and dings and stuff in it. um, and a while ago, when I was still looking into building the bench, I saw a video by a guy who had made the exact same bench, once out of pine and once out of hickory. And he took his big old mallet and he went whap on the top of the pine one and whap on the top of the hickory one. And he said, this is going to sound weird, but I prefer the pine one because it's easier on my hands when I'm working with, the chisels and doing stuff, because it, even in the context of workbench, it's a more forgiving surface. And so when I saw that, I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to do pine. I'm going to save the money. I'm not going to worry about it. Because I'd had this idea of making it out of like oak or something. But I feel that getting oak for a workbench is a lot of money for something that's going to get beaten up, you know? Okay, so let me just make sure I'm not forgetting anything. There's Ace. Guys are still saying hi to each other. Simo is giving us a breakdown on everything he's been doing lately. He's been very active. But yeah, I've just been working, just been working I've been jobbing. So tomorrow I'm taking a bunch of crap to the eco center. But aside from that, I haven't been leaving the house very often. Look at this. Look at this, guys. Okay, you know what? I'm going to... So what is this? This is Brasserie Coopérative La Chasse Pinte. It's a microbrew co-op somewhere here in Quebec. Where is it? La Chasse Pinte. Plein cœur du village de Lens-Saint-Jean. So it's Lens-Saint-Jean. Okay, it's not near me in Montreal at all. This is La Crochette, which is the hooked. It's an amber. It's a Labrador tea amber beer. A Labrador tea infused amber beer. So I'm gonna give it a little tasty poo. Yeah, it looks like whipped cream. Has a... I would call that an extra special bitter. But yeah, the Labrador tea sort of hangs back a bit and then, like, it doesn't overpower. Oh, it's good. It's This is a summertime beer, guys. I tell you what. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Simone is going into the hardness value of various pines, but like, there's still a difference between all those pines and like ponderosas and stuff, and oak or maple or hickory, especially like hickory. Yeah, Tenenbaum. Labrador tea is a good drink. Hey, speaking of which, where's Outdoor Dauber? Excuse me. Oh no, am I starting that again? Oh, excuse me. So, those of you who are aware of or following my Instagram will know that I finished this for my daughter, who is not in bed yet. I finished it last night. Well, I finished it the night before, but it was like really loose. So I wet it again, clamped it tighter until last night or this morning. look, it's my first leather work, okay? So I know it's not, it's not perfect, but especially on the back, okay? But it's my first leather work. So I and I like the fact that I did my first leather birch stacked handle, my first leather work for my daughter. I like it. I'm very, very happy. Of course, I put a drainage hole in there. That looks like it's smooth here. It looks like it's not because it's obviously 3 different pieces of leather, but it's nice and smooth. And of course, I videoed the whole thing. That'll be up in a couple of weeks because something else is scheduled for Friday. So I'm very, very happy about it. Very, very happy. Maybe I'll get to sort of this level of skill at some point. This sheath is so beat to hell. This knife is so beat up, but I just love it. I'd like to maybe pass this down someday. I mean, you guys have seen this a million times. I keep showing it in my videos. And for a long time, this was my only bush knife. I love me some desert ironwood. I really wish it had like yellow or orange scales, though. And yeah, I wet formed this sheath without even knowing how to do it, really. So I did a video on that too, years and years ago, when my channel was still really, really scrappy. But I didn't like I filled it full of water, dumped the water out, and then I was just going so hard at it that I like all these wrinkles I created just by wet forming the sheath, And it's funny because if you really look at it, this sheath is way too big for this knife. I hadn't even realized that until about 30 seconds ago. But yeah, while I was doing this one, it took forever because I kept having to look up the next step, the next stage, what I should do, and there was a whole bunch of stuff that I did backwards. Part of the reason why the back of it is so scrappy is because, well, you'll see in the video when it comes out, whatever, in a couple of weeks. Hey, Hike with Mike is here. 102 Nagao? How do I pronounce that? But hi, 102. Can I call you 102? Welcome. Nice to see you. Hi there, Hike with Mike. Simon, as you were asking, it's La Crachete. Labrador tea. Bitter. Hey, Canoe Hound Adventures here. Canoe, man. Sorry, Dennis. Last week's live stream was an interview, and I really loved it, man. I had a great time. Yeah, you missed a great. I think you missed, or did you come on late? I don't remember now. But it was. I was very excited to be doing it, and I'm happy with the way it turned out. Oh, good old beer. Dennis, when are you starting up again with your series? Where was it? Oh yeah. So I mean, I just noticed how big, right? Because the knife end's there. Oops. I never noticed how big this sheath was before. I mean, the guy who did these, I mean, he wasn't pumping them out the way like Jack Law or Adventure Sworn is, like he was a one-man shop doing it part-time in Australia where everything is dangerous. It's funny how attached we get to knives, eh? Us bushcrafty types, survivals types, prepper types. I mean, it's just a piece of steel with wood, and some leather, but even if I don't use this knife forever, and it's, with this around and stuff, it's not a given that this one's coming out with me, but I have some real nice warm feelings with this knife. I've beaten it to hell. I've done a lot of stuff in the woods with this knife. It's getting beaten up. It's getting old. I did this this dangly bit. Some good memories. I dropped it at one point, digging through the tall grass looking for it. Found it and immediately did this. Well, I mean, when I got home. Dennis, you're on your phone. Rats. I was I always think that my live streams get better if Dennis comes on. Hey, Mark, how's it going? You were away. Where were you? Were you out camping, Mr. Dennis? Were you in the woods? Oh, you're starting in September. Okay. Hike with Mike says, I get really attached to my flint and steel and fire kits. I'm unsure about that. Like, I think I get attached to parts of it. I don't know why this is on my desk, to be honest with you. Yeah, like, I don't have a ferro rod in here. I had, like, the ferro rod that I made or that I handled or whatever, I gave to my daughter. And this isn't even my original steel, right? Like, my original was that that Canadian Outdoor Equipment one, which I also think I gave to my daughter. Hold on, for some reason I have her fire kit here too. This fire kit, the one that I made for Camille, I have warm feelings about. Made the bag. I carved the wooden toggle. I put some fat wood, a little piece of flint. This smallest steel in it, but wasn't a very good one. Some char cloth. See, she's not doing flint and steel yet. She's still only doing ferro rod. Look at that flint. Here's a nice steel. I think I got this from a subscriber. So I don't know where my original steel is anymore. I think this is a nice steel. Nice. Did you see that? Hold on. Scary. Yeah, it's funny because what's in here is not what I thought was in here. I mean, I don't tend to go looking inside Camille's fire kit, But, oh, thanks, Hike with Mike. Yeah. And it's too bad because I had like a little polar bear sort of iron-on sticker that I'd put on, but of course they don't stay on unless you sew them, I don't know where her fire steel is. Her ferro rod is. I'm gonna make some new ones anyway. I think I've got a bunch of just the ferro rods, and my buddy Robin has a lathe, so I think I'm gonna try making a bunch. Maybe I'll sell a couple, maybe not, but I'll make myself a new one first, and I'll make Camille one once her. Once the one that I can't find right now is no longer good. Still got some life to it though. So, I'm just making sure I'm not missing anyone here. But actually, you know what? Why don't we put that question out to everyone? What is you can give like a top 5 or top 3 or something, but what's a piece of gear that you're really attached to for either a good reason or it's just because it was your first whatever. You know, I'd really be interested to know that. I find stuff like that fascinating because sometimes the thing that someone is really attached to is like, what? Like one thing that I'm very attached to, and I never thought I would be, is my wool blanket, my silly ass Canadian Forces wool blanket. I love it. And I keep saying that I hated those when I was in like basic training or junior leadership school. But but now that but now that I realize I appreciate what a wool blanket really is, having one with a link to my younger self when I was in the Royal Canadian Air Cadets seems to be part of why I love that blanket so much. Hey, Jonathan Millie's here. How's it going? Jonathan, I was Jonathan, what country do you live in? Because I think I came across your Facebook page today, and I saw, I don't remember what, but I saw a picture that made me think that maybe you were British, but I thought you were like American or something. I don't know. Yes, I closed the tin of tar cloth first. I'm smart. Um, oh, Dennis, that your Hennessy hammock, that is an excellent choice. Dennis has really good taste in gear, guys. By the way, uh, you got a 5 meter red marine line. I think mine's 5 liters. My 5 liters, 5 meters. My orange marine line that I've been using for some of my not making videos. I have not had mine forever, so I'm not attached to it. But you can't go wrong with a good piece of line, that's for sure. Of course, yours, Simo. I would be as well. Newfoundland, right, Jonathan? It's funny because I had you pegged as somewhere in Canada, and then suddenly I was like, wait, maybe I'm wrong about this. Maybe he's in the States. Maybe he's in the UK. Uh, oh, heck with Mike Campfire Steve gave you a wool blanket. Nice. That's a good gift. Um, I know you're in Florida, so you're probably living like on the surface of the sun right now. But um, Kenneth Cram, is that his name? He's in Texas, and he sometimes does like real primitive camping where he does that old school mountain man kind of wool blanket, sort of worn as a sash with all your stuff in it. Um, like I don't think in Texas in July or Florida in any time you necessarily need to, bundle up. But there's a lot of stuff you can use wool blanket for because they're so bloody robust. So if I'm in the woods and it's been like raining or snowing or I'm not sure about this ground or I just want to have something between me and the sand or whatever, I just put the wool blanket down almost as a carpet or a sitting pad as a pad. Yes, Kenneth Cram. Yeah, I think he's a good channel too. He comes off as such. It's not an exciting channel, but he comes off as such a nice, low key guy that you can just watch video after video and just sort of be lulled into this sense of bien-être, of like well-being, And he's baking cakes, like a banana bread. He's got that little oven he made out of like cardboard and aluminum foil. It's just like I just think he seems like such a nice guy. I think he took a break at one point because he was getting trolled over something. I'm probably spreading rumors here, but that's what I had heard when he sort of disappeared from my wall for a while. And I was like, why would somebody be angry at him? Ace 27, Hike with Mike is in Florida. Hold on a sec. I just want to jump back because I want to see if who else has told us about items that they're very, very attached to. Yeah, Hike with Mike's wool. That's cool. A neck knife that my son gave me. Yeah, that's cool. Oh, hey, I've been wondering, what do you guys think? Neck knife? I have like a leather thong. What do you guys think? Neck knife or belt knife? Or do I just attach the thong and give her the choice? I don't know. Something I was thinking about, and I was going to bring the thong over so I could demonstrate, but I forgot. Well, if you've had it for 25 years, Dennis, that's good. That it's funny how a certain amount of that sentiment just comes from having had something for a long time, and if you've had it for long enough, it fits like slippers. You instinctively know its capabilities, what it can and cannot do, its character, and it's funny because for me, that's definitely this knife. Absolutely. Like, even though I find this one imminently sexier, this one's, it's almost like if you've had something for long enough, it becomes part of your persona, for instance, boom, right? You guys have seen this. This is the good axe that I've had the longest. So, I mean, I've been doing this channel since what, 2013? Am I right about that? I think it's on the banner of my channel or something, right? Sorry about the yawning, guys. This axe, this size doesn't make sense in a lot of cases, but because it's the first good axe I bought, and it's like that for me. Like, Dennis, your knife you've had for 25 years, you don't even have to think, right? You know how it feels. You know where the balance is. You know everything. This axe is kind of like that for me, although I haven't had it for 25 years yet. Runner up, of course, is going to be this one. I don't always keep a bunch of axes and knives at my desk, by the way. It's just I like to prep just in case I'm going to talk about something during the live stream. This axe, I don't have to think about. One thing I do know is if I'm trying to cut something like a tree that's big, this axe will give me blisters because I'm trying to sort of, take something down that's just too big, right? I'm holding it all the way back here. I'm getting, but anything smaller than that, like anything that's bushcraft sized, right? Because if I'm bushcrafting or I'm camping or whatever, I'm not taking down a tree this big. If I'm building a log cabin, I'm taking down a tree that big, but I'm not taking down all my trees with an axe. So I know exactly what this axe does. I love this axe, but it's not like that for me because I haven't had it long enough. I haven't used it long enough to have an instinctual feel for it yet. I also haven't done my review video for it yet, but that is coming very, very soon, as soon as I can get into the woods. Because if I think that more people should have this axe. This one here is my most recent axe. It's very handy. It's beautiful. It's very task specific. It's specifically like a spoon carving or a Sloyd axe. Okay. Very comfortable. Very nice. Beautiful. Beautiful. And I'm always going to have a really fun association with this axe because Tenenbaum brought it. Like, I bought it in Sweden and had it shipped to Tenenbaum's place because he was going to Ottawa. So I met him in Ottawa and he passed it to me. But I have no familiarity with this axe yet at all. None. It takes years to develop the familiarity with your tools like that, whether it's an axe, a knife, a saw, a bass guitar, a hammer, a jigsaw. I don't know. But power tools are a little different actually, because they're all about turning circular motion into cutting or punching motion. So there isn't really that tactile aspect there. But when you've been using something for 25 years, that means two things to me. One, obviously you like it, otherwise you would have swapped it out at some point. And B, you're familiar enough with it that you would probably be able to pick it out of a crowd without even thinking twice. Digging through a box of knives, this one's mine. Let's see. Serge says, since you're stocking my gear, the boys Axiomata is now your favorite piece of gear for now. Yeah, that was a nice job you did. It's a bitter beer, which is good because I'm a bitter person. Jonathan says, I'm still using... Oh, you didn't finish your thought. Mark Putmans has a list. Some great backpacks from the past. My D.H. Russell. Is your D.H. Russell like the number one, or do you have a number four like Simo has? The MSR repair kit for rescuing others. Nice. Jonathan did finish. Well, you know what, Jonathan? That's when Gerber knew how to make stuff. I don't trust anything Gerber makes anymore. Excuse me. But they do have there's some vintage Gerber stuff that I think would be well worth the money. But, No, nice, Jonathan. Your first hunting knife. How long ago did you get that? Hold on. Sorry, I'm just... Yeah, okay. Grace is... I'm really behind. Grace says to leave it up to her. So yeah, maybe what I'll do is I'll just wrap it in the thong and say, look, it's up to you. Around your neck or on your belt. Yes, Simo has a black diamond, has a Walters black diamond Montreal pattern. I remember that night when I was at your place and we were going to do like an ADC episode, and I was like, oh, and you said, hey, here's the Walters I have, and you handed it to me. I was like, oh yeah, and then I said it was black diamond on the other side. I was like, oh wow, do you remember that? And then I think I said, oh shit, it's a black diamond. I have a black diamond somewhere, a Walters black diamond. It still needs a haft on it. Hi, with Mike. I don't have a room dedicated to all my hiking and bushcraft gear. What I have is like the workshop, and a corner of it has all my stuff there. Some stuff is in the garage, like my tent and stuff, because I had it pitched and then I dried it in the garage and packed it up, and I just haven't transferred it back to the basement yet. Chug tea is a good drink. Where the hell's Outdoor Dauber? Simo or Serge or someone, get on the horn with Outdoor Dauber and with Tyler. It's find out where the hell they are. Brandon says my Loa Alpine pack. I think I had one of their camera bags for a long time. Good stuff. How old is that pack, Brandon? Oh no, Fox! I know this is going to be a sad story. My favorite piece of gear was my MSR Whisper light that was stolen. It was self-cleaning and dual fuel. Those Whisper lights are cool. I don't have one, but I would. I would if I had any money right now. Yeah, Jonathan says that after Gerber was acquired by Fiskars, it went downhill. Yeah, my LMF2, my Gerber LMF2, loose pommel on like a military grade survival knife. I'm not cool with that. Fox it also puts a good point, and it's funny because um, the same weekend that my LMF2 arrived, this is a stupid story. Thanks to the magic of Amazon's one-click buying and me not looking close enough at the buttons I'm clicking, I bought the Gerber Bear Grylls Ultimate with the fine edge because I don't really like a serrated edge knife, and the LMF2, and they both arrived within 2 days of each other. The LMF2 I still have because, as I've said before, it makes a really good pry bar in the workshop. The Bear Grylls Ultimate, I thought was a really nicely designed knife. Not many knives had that comfortable a handle for me, but the combination of the Chinese mystery steel and here's the killer, the sheath meant that I passed it on. I did a giveaway on Bushcraft USA and passed it on. Everything about the package was well thought out. Yeah, the steel was no good, but it was really easy to sharpen. But because I'm kind of fat, um, the way that the sheath came up over the belt, I'm looking for like a piece of paper so I could draw it. The belt loop was sort of sewed onto this backing board, this nylon stiff board that came up. And it would sort of, because I'm a fat tub of lard, it would sort of, let me get rid of this. Just pretend this is the top of it. It would dig in like right here. And I just couldn't abide by that because I always had a rash there. So I was like, you know what? Forget about it. And I did a giveaway and passed it on. But I thought if it had better steel, I really like the handle on that. And I love the look of it because of the orange accents. Because as I always say, orange accents make it easier for me to find. Boom, I'm okay with that. Because I do drop my stuff a lot. Hold on. Tenenbaum. You got a 119 as well? I don't. I've never had. I don't have any knives from back in the day because I wasn't brought up by a dad, and all that usual sort of dad stuff. Hunting, fishing, working on the car, all that stuff. I only got into any of that late in life. So I don't have a knife that was my grandfather's. I don't have an axe that my dad gave me for my 8th birthday. I don't have any of that stuff. So when you guys are like, man, I've had this, I saw a video by a guy who has had that D.H. Russell, the number 4 Groman for 40 years. Ish, whatever it was. I may not be getting that exact, but it was like forever. Like very, like I was alive when he bought it, but I was young, kind of thing. And I don't know of any tool that I have that's that old or that I've had for that long. So you guys who have like, hey man, I've had this knife for 25 years and I know it backwards. I kind of envy you guys, that kind of thing, Yuck. I didn't, what's that handle made out of, Jonathan? I'm probably ridiculously behind on the comments. Sorry, guys. Hike with Mike says, oh, the UCO candle launcher. I want to buy 2 of those. They're affordable. they're $20 each Canadian or something. But I excuse me. This sort of favorite tools thing sounds like it could be an actual discussion. So if I was to post a, you know what? There. Anyone want to get on and talk about their favorite tools of all time? There's your invite right there. I'm in the meantime, I'm going to try to catch up with. I'm so far behind. Sorry. Grace is asking if. Oh yeah, right. I remember Fox. You got a replacement recently, which was good. But was it a later model or something? What did? I don't remember what you said about that. Oh, I should have just read down a bit. And here's the thing. I like having tools. I like having the old version of stuff, the discontinued one. And I don't even know why, because there's often, not always. Okay, I'll make my generalized statement and then I'll give you the quid pro quo or the, whatever. Very often, the reason why something is discontinued is to make room for a better, more updated version. That's an improvement on the original. Every now and again, however, this is not the case. I'm thinking about the you guys who watch like Pine Martin or Kevin Callan, the Happy Camper, might recognize they have these bug net tarp kind of things. I don't remember what they're called, but there's a new version of this thing that costs less money, but the design is nowhere near as good. Hey, Jonathan. How are you doing?
Hey, Jess, how's it going?
I'm okay. It's hot as stuff here today, so I'm kind of like sweating like a pig.
Our weather is not quite so hot here, but it was a decent day, 20 degrees or something like that.
I don't know. Simo probably knows off the top of his head what it was here, but man, it was stinking hot.
I figured I'd dial in so you can remember where I'm from.
Yeah. Yeah. So you got some.
Yeah, I just dug out a couple of the things I was talking about. So this is.
I'm gonna do this so that we have.
There you go.
That's the 119.
That's the 119 in the leather sheath. So that's been with me every hunting trip for 25 years. Needs to be sharpened every time you use it, but it's not great steel. And
the thing about the thing about the bucks isn't that they're fabulous steel; it's that they're affordable, and you can have the same knife for 25 years.
Yeah, when I was 17, I wasn't spending $400 on a hunting knife, but I think I might have spent $50 on this thing.
Yeah, you can have the same knife for 25 years. Hey, Dennis, mute your.
I did. Sorry about that.
Yeah. That's that old Gerber. Yeah, see, I love the old tools, man.
I got that exact Gerber.
You got that one too?
Yeah. I think it's the original. The first. I think the plier style on this one is not quite the original, but this was from the mid 90s.
Yeah. The one thing I do like about the Leatherman is the fact that little wire cutter part very often has replaceable blades. But I love the old school design of that Gerber.
Yeah, my Leatherman Wave is my most used tool. Now I don't have that down here in my office with me, but the Gerber still has its place in my book bag.
Yeah, there's a real magic to those older designs. Dennis, do you still have that tool?
I do actually. I keep that in the console of my boat.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I go for fidgeting too.
The leather, or the Swiss Army one. The oh gosh, brain fart. Victorinox, the Victorinox one, which is one of my favorites too.
Mm-hmm.
But my original one was my favorite until it got stolen out of my truck.
This is not quite the original one that I had when I was a kid, but when I was like 5 years old, I bought one of these.
Yeah, I remember those.
I was on Amazon a little while ago, and
it
popped up.
Yeah. I like it. I used to. I think I had one of those at one point too.
That's fine.
Yeah. Brandon, 9 years old, can't find it. Well, there's no reason to replace the older tools, Brandon. Right? There's no way. So often they're still better made than the new stuff that's made to a price point. Even 9 years ago.
That's the thing about buying quality stuff, right? You buy it
Mhm.
so you could hopefully turn it over to your kids when you're old and gray, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely what I want to do with my Australian Woodlord clone. That's for sure. I definitely want her to have this. I keep thinking about what hey, what are you drinking there, Jonathan?
Oh yeah, this is a local brewery.
See where you're at.
So stay where you're at. So I don't know if you're familiar with the play "Come From Away." It's
Nope.
based on the September 11th when the
Oh
planes all got
yeah,
from Gander.
I'm only familiar with it because of a CB. There was something on the CBC about it at some point.
So they turned it into a Broadway play. But anyway, this is from the Yellow Belly Brewery. It's like a restaurant with a brew pub downtown, and they did a play on "Come From Away," which is a Newfoundland term for people who come from the mainland mostly.
Yeah.
And then this is "Stay Where You're At." So this is a 2020 take on "Come From Away" because we don't want anybody to come from away right now.
Or even come over to your house.
No.
Yeah. So while we're chatting, I'm trying to catch up with the with the comments down the side here. Brandon, I also have one more Garberg that I love. Here's the thing: I've got this, right? I've got my F1, and I've got a Mora Garberg, and it's like, what do I take with me today? Like, and I'm a guy who's very into carbon steel, but this baby here and my Garberg are both stainless, and I never thought I would have stainless knives. Oh, that's the light my fire, eh?
Yeah, that's the only Mora that I've ever had.
I think I have 4 Moras right now.
The carbon steel kind of gets pretty gross.
Yeah, but I like it when it gets a little patina and stuff. I should probably just let this patina up, but I keep trying to polish it, for some stupid reason.
No, it looks good.
Dip it in some Coca-Cola for a couple hours.
Yeah, force a patina on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turn it black.
Little Coke or a little mustard or something.
Yeah, I was going to say mustard will work too. You could do a pattern patina on it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I guess, yeah, anything with an acid, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's it, right? Anything with an acid. Yeah, but Brandon, yeah, nice taste. Is your Garberg the carbon or the stainless, Brandon? I think the carbon Garberg is the one with the black blade. I wonder if they did that to sort of mitigate the rust.
Oh, it's like a pre-blackened.
It's got like a coating on it,
Oh,
like my Bear Grylls Ultimate did.
oh, that's the slightly more expensive kind of hunting variant of bush.
Oh yeah, the Garberg is like $100.
Yeah. Yeah, this light on fire I think was like $25.
Yeah.
About it more as a gimmick. It works. The steel in it is like pretty small, but
it's funny because I didn't buy Morris forever. I was like, no way, I'm not touching that. No way, because of the fact that when people on Bushcraft USA or Blade Forums or wherever we're talking about them, we're like, they're so cheap that if you break one, you throw it away. And I'm so done with disposable culture that I was like, as soon as I saw that from like 4 different people, I was like, I'm not touching these things. And I finally
you don't want to have something be broken in the middle of a trip or something, right?
No, exactly. But I bought my first Mora. I bought 2 of them at the same time, in fact, because I had this. I have the same thought process going on about axes right now. Is that I'm someone who makes videos. So even though I keep saying I'm not an expert, I'm not an expert. There are people watching my videos looking for certain forms of information. And so not knowing a damn thing about the Mora, which is like probably the most widespread bushcraft knife, it didn't make sense to me. So I was like, okay, I'll buy a freaking Mora. And Bushcraft Canada had a wicked sale on, so I bought like 2 or 3. I bought a
With
robust and a companion HD. And I have something else sitting in the box that I'm going to do for my 3,000 follower giveaway. I don't remember what it is. It's like something real, like low, not low end, but one of their very, very basic ones. And you know what? They come sharp as the dickens. Like they come terrifyingly sharp. And they're easy to sharpen. And what I've discovered is they don't break that easily if you're not batoning with them or doing all those other things that you shouldn't really do with a knife is
not full time.
yeah, exactly. Like I know what it's good for and I know what it's not good for. And if I don't do what it's not good for, then I'm not going to be breaking my knife. And so now I always have a Morris sort of as a backup in my backpack.
The best thing about this light my fire one is the 90-degree on the back of it for striking your fire steel.
Yep.
I mean, I don't use the fire steel in it very often because it's so small, but that works great for any fire steel because it's got the full back of the knife is a 90-degree angle.
You know what else has a hardened 90-degree spine for doing a fire, for scratching out a fire? I'm translating on the fly here, guys. A ferro rod with.
What?
I'm just putting my sentence together. Do you know what else has a hardened 90-degree spine for using with a ferro rod?
There you go. You get an A+.
Would you guys believe I'm a writer in my day job? This does.
Oh yeah.
Right there. Hardened specifically for a ferro rod.
Okay.
That's the camp part of the
more pull the ferro rod rather than move the X.
Yeah, I've done it. I've tried it both ways because when this thing first arrived, I was like, I gotta try this, and it's amazing just how much damage you can do to the knuckle of this thumb.
pull the mask off. That I want to see what that the blade looks like. I've never seen that one.
Oh, you've never seen this one? So
well, I may have. I don't know, but want to see it again anyways.
Because I do so many live streams. Yeah, this is a Council Tool camp carver.
Okay.
So it's part camp knife, part camp axe, part carving axe. It's a beautiful piece of work.
That's a pretty axe.
Yeah. It's beautiful. Hey, Austin, how's it going?
Hey, Austin.
Good, and you guys?
Yeah, all is well. All is well.
When did you get that one, Jeff?
Good.
You know what? I got it months ago, but then suddenly we all got COVIDed right up the freaking wazoo, so I haven't been able to go out and do a video on it.
I don't have a whole lot of time, but I thought I would sneak on here and share with the Peanut Gallery a gift I recently received. So this is my first Hella.
Oh, you got a Hella.
Yeah.
It's I don't know the name of the model off the top of my head, but it's their cork-handled fishing knife.
Is that the one where the snap goes on the back?
No, there's no snap on this one.
Okay.
No. It's just where the rat tail is peened.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah, peened. Okay. Because there's one that looks a bit like that, but yeah, now that we're thinking about it, it's not that long. That the sheath sort of snaps right onto the. Wow.
Yeah.
It's got a nice mirror finish on it too, eh?
Yeah. So I've cleaned a couple fish with it, and I've even kind of felt safe enough to kind of let it float in the slack water by me as I've been fishing, and it's pretty cool. It's one whole piece of cork on the handle, so it's not. The fit and finish is not what I would have hoped for the price, but I can kind of appreciate it because they're, trying to. I guess it would maybe be something similar, like making a bone handle or something, where you kind of just have to work with what you've got.
Yep.
But yeah, I was thinking if I'm going to purchase a sealer.
Yeah.
That I've seen folks putting on cork-handled fishing rods.
Okay.
To preserve the integrity of the cork a little.
Okay.
The blade shape looks very much like a Normark fishing knife that I have. My father had.
What?
Probably like 30.
That's a classic Normark.
Yeah.
Okay.
The blade style looks very similar, but that one had plastic handle.
I'll be back in a sec. I'm going to get my buck.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I definitely want to see that, Dennis.
That looks
And
nice.
is that a flexi? Is it a flexible blade?
This?
Yeah.
So. I mean, it's not I wouldn't bear a lot of weight into it, but
Okay.
it's sharp as hell.
Because like you know how some sort of filleting knives or whatever you can just bend and bend.
Yeah. So here's this is just a Rapala Martini from Walmart, and this.
Yeah.
That's got a lot more flex than this one does.
Oh.
But
You can get a Rapala Martini at Walmart.
yeah,
Wow.
for like $20, it's kind of
Nice.
yeah. This was actually my first knife for cleaning fish, and other than it being a little small for some of the bigger fish I've caught. Sorry.
Is that a 6-inch blade? Or that's an 8-inch blade? Eh?
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
from
Different
tip to from
The big one looks like it might be like 8-ish, but I think the other one is
6.
yeah, this is probably 6.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my new.
Such a difference in
So
size.
have you tried dropping the cork handle one to see if it floats?
Oh yeah, it does just fine. It floats. It's like actually the new Mora cork handles. If you've seen those.
No, I haven't seen those. I didn't even know about them.
Really? Yeah,
What?
yeah. Mora came out with a cork handled like they came out with 2. There's a Mora cork handled like survival knife, rescue knife.
Really?
That's like fully serrated and has like a blunt tip for like cutting rope and lines and things like
Really?
that. And then there's a new, probably similar to this. It's a fully, it's a full Scandi stainless, like water fishing kind of knife. Yeah.
Interesting. Hold on. I just want to. I realize I've completely forgotten about the side chat here. So we got 16 people on, which is cool, which is good, which I like. I'm just going back. I like what Tenenbaum here says. Moors are not cheap; they're good value. I think that's it, because before I bought my first one, I was like, I'm not buying that cheap ass crap. And now that I've got a few, I think that they're just very well priced for what you get. Outdoor Dauber's here, and he comes out batting. Comes out swinging. You can break a cold steel CBK by battening it. Yes, you're absolutely right. I wonder whatever happened to that troll. Now, this is also very true. The spine of a folding saw is awesome for striking a ferro rod. I use the back of my Silky way more often than I would care to admit.
And it's probably a lot safer. They're those full rubber handled folding rubber handled folding blades that you.
Yeah,
you know what I use to strike my ferro rod?
What?
I use the key that comes with it. That's why they give it to you, man.
Yeah, but like I made my ferro rod, right? So yeah. I didn't make the key. I see like what Jonathan is doing. Actually, how big is that ferro rod, dude?
It's
Okay. I thought like because of the way that the camera was, I thought it was like one of
the
those.
the saw is very small too.
Okay.
But it is. I didn't realize that. It does have a nice sharp.
Yeah. A folding saw, nice. Heiko's Mike says surprisingly a piece of bottle glass is amazing as a striker on a ferro rod. That I didn't know. Just let me check the.
Really, I didn't know that.
No, me neither.
Bottle glass. Is that like
Like
a
if-
beer
if-
bottle?
Yeah, like a beer blade. You're gonna start that again.
Sure.
Like a beer bottle glass or whatever.
Be careful using that as a tool,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd slice my hand wide open trying to pull that trick off.
Yeah, it says you could even use a broken piece of quartz.
Yeah, you saw that too. I was about to put that up. Yeah, I'm. I would like to get some nice British flint. I keep sort of wanting to find some nice British flint somewhere, and I just
For napping or for striking?
for striking. I don't think I'm going to become a napper. I watched what's his name? Is it Mike Lord? Something Lord, the guy in the UK who's probably the best flint napper in the world. You know, he grew
I
up.
don't know.
Anyway, he keeps
But
sort of coming.
He's quite the expert at that.
Yeah, he knows.
There's a guy that I don't know if he had the channel where he did kind of primitive skills that turned into the Mousetrap channel.
The Mousetrap channel, really?
Yeah, you have. If I forget the name, I forget what the name of his channel was originally, but for a really, really long time, he did like primitive skills and making traps with natural found materials, all the way from tools down to the finished trap or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he started making. It's called the channel for a long time was called Mousetrap Monday, because he would post. And he has like, for the last 3 or 4 years now, he's posted nothing but like testing out antique and 3D printed mouse traps from fans, and
really,
it's kind of addicting to watch. Yeah.
Let's check that out. There's so many creative YouTube channels out there.
Yeah, but if you go, so if you go to this guy's channel, if you search the Mousetrap Monday channel and you go way back in his catalog, he shows a lot of these primitive skills. A reason I bring him up was because he was into flint napping, and what he would do was take old glass bottles, and when he didn't have like chert or flint or obsidian to nap, he would nap glass bottles.
Interesting.
And
oh yeah, look at that. Otzi the Iceman arrow was one of his first videos.
Sounds like something I'd want to wear a pair of gloves to do.
Yeah.
yeah,
Wrong one, Joe.
Yeah, he definitely evolved his channel, didn't he?
Well, whoa, this is live streamception.
Never mind. I was gonna show his name is John Lord, but I can't figure out how to get it to work, so forget about it.
LORDE or
John Lord, LORD.
LORDE?
No.
D, okay.
Yep. I'm trying to burn it. How's that? I'm just wasting time here, so never mind.
Hey, Mark's here. There you go, Mark.
Mark. Napper. I think flint napping is KNAPPER. Flint napper. Steve Boblin asked, explain napper. It's the process by which you turn a chunk of flint into a flint arrowhead, right? Or you take your flint and you sort of look at it and you bap off a great big hunk of it, and then you bap off another big hunk of it, and it's just through knocking it with rocks and then going at it with the end of an antler, you can form arrowheads or hand axes or whatever. That's flint napping.
Yeah, that's something I've always kind of thought was really interesting, is the making dull things sharp with things that are softer. Like obsidian is exponentially harder than a deer antler, but
but because of the imperfections that you can work with, you can take chunks off of it. Hey, Rolling Homestead and Wild Edibles, how's it going, mister? For me, all is well.
I read somewhere that obsidian, when you nap, it can be sharper than surgical steel.
Oh yeah.
So can flint. So can flint. If you look at surgical steel real close up, like, microscope close up, it's still steel that's been ground, right? It's just been ground really, really well. Whereas if you look real close, as in microscope close, at the edge of like a napped obsidian or a flint blade, it's sharp, Holmes. It's like scary ass sharp. It's like you don't mess with it sharp.
Wow.
Because it's not ground, right? It's the way the molecules and the atoms I'm just whatever. So you know what I'm saying, right? You've broken off that edge. You haven't ground it. So you don't have a burr. You don't have a microscopic burr. You don't have microscopic sort of, those like little hairs. There's none of that crap. There is none of that crap.
I was looking at the YouTube stream, wondering why everyone seemed to be so delayed, and then I realized I was not on the right tab.
Oh yeah, the difference in time between StreamYard and the.
Oh yeah, and YouTube. Oh, I used to keep both open to sort of, because if I at somebody in YouTube, they see that I've added them. If I at them in StreamYard, forget about it, right? So I used to try to keep them both open, but I would just end up like, I don't know what's happening here. So now I just go with the StreamYard, and instead of adding somebody in the side chat, I just talk to them.
You can pop out the chat in YouTube, so it's in a separate window. So you just have the YouTube chat open and the StreamYard.
I knew that.
View.
I totally knew that.
It just is that night, right?
Oh yeah.
So it's there. I don't know if we can see here.
Nice.
The old buck.
Oh, cool. That's a classic.
120. I've had to actually. I was talking to the wife about it there. I think I've had this over 30 years now because I've had it since before I met the wife.
Oof.
But she's a favorite. I'd probably cry if I ever lost this one.
Is it a flexi blade?
She's pretty flexible.
Yeah.
And I keep her nice and strapped that she's like a razor blade.
Yeah.
For filleting.
She probably cleaned a good 40 fish this last week. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
What'd you catch?
We're getting walleye, pike, bass, and perch.
Okay. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of trout fishing this summer.
Yep.
We've got world-class trout streams around here.
Whereabouts is that?
Where are you two, Austin?
This is southwest Wisconsin,
Okay.
in the driftless of Wisconsin.
Well, cool.
My wife spent 5 summers working in just outside of Almond, Wisconsin.
Almond?
I think it's about an hour or two north of Madison.
Sure. I know the area well. I'm not familiar with the town.
It's a very small town. Not surprised. But I went down one summer when she was working down there as the camp nurse at the kids camp, and I must say it was nice to see farmland as far as I could see.
Sure.
It was very interesting.
Do you have a question though, Jonathan? How the hell did she get? How does one get that job living as far away?
I'm really not sure. She was working that for several summers before we met, so
okay.
I'm not sure how she originally found it when she was in university. I guess it came up as a student placement position,
Right.
but it was a camp for low income kids from the Milwaukee region,
Okay.
and so she would spend her summers down there for 5 years in a row.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Hey, Rolling Homestead's been learning to fly a drone. Man, you have my envy, Mr. Rolling. I would love to pick up a drone.
There's too many rules on drones now.
Well, I was about to say, I was about to ask which drone he got, because If I was to buy a drone, it would be that was it the Mavic Mini, because it's 1 gram less than you need.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's a really popular one.
Well, yeah, because if you're 1 gram higher, then suddenly you need a pilot's license in Canada, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
Yeah.
thanks,
That's
Trudeau.
It's the a friend of mine got one. Like he got one like 2 weeks before the government brought in all those regulations, or before they announced that they were coming in, and it shot all his plans to hell because he bought like it was the DJI Phantom, so it was like well above the
Yeah.
legal limits, and he got into like all these regulations, and he gave up. He just cracked the thing, put it in his basement, and gave up on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Rolling Home said he bought the Mavic Mini. Yeah, because I think they have the same rule either in effect or coming in the States. So
Mini is surprising how good the video looks from the Mavic Mini.
What's really interesting about that is my grandfather flew RC airplanes for years, and that was always so regulated, and then these drones come around. It's kind of like ham radio. For a long time, the price of the radio was kind of the barrier to entry for the hobby. So
yeah.
And then Amazon, you could get a radio for $40, and now every prepper and his friend has a Baofeng.
Baofeng, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's both good and bad. You get a lot of people with a lot of exposure, and then a lot of people that don't know what they're doing. So,
when I was growing up, I had a friend of mine whose father was really into ham radio, and he would talk endlessly about like giving that perfect cloud bounce and talking to somebody from Australia. And
I never got into it because I'm old enough that to me there's like when I thought about ham radio, there was always the cost factor, you know. Like by the time everyone ended up with a Baofeng, I was already old, you know.
I've recently gotten into this niche of the hobby called Parks on the Air, and it's a lot of fun because it's a sort of a gentleman's game, but you go out to state parks or provincial parks, and they have like a code, and you quote unquote activate the park by setting up your antenna and your radio and operating remotely from a park with so many contacts. So I've gone and set my big like 80-meter long wire antenna and sat at a picnic table and played radio. It's pretty cool.
Sort of the ham radio equivalent of geocaching.
It's very similar, yeah.
Sounds like it, yeah. Yeah. I'm just sort of... Grace has a funny...
I don't know.
I think somebody still does. What does Grace say here? Funny story. My mom used to threaten to use a razor strop on our backsides if we misbehave. A strop, not strap. Okay. I work with someone who calls that thing a strope. And I always thought that was really weird until I came across like 3 different videos where those people called them a strope. So now I'm wondering, is that like in some parts... Is that like a rather versus rather or tomato versus tomato thing? Or are the people who say strope just wrong? You know? Just
I got my leather strop right here too.
Nice. That kind of looks like the Lee Valley one.
It is.
It is? Yeah, I've got the same one then.
Great strop.
Yours is older than mine, though, I think.
I bought one of the like the old school style ones that like have a hook on one end, and it's just like basically a leather belt, basically, for my father. But I don't think he's tried it yet. On Amazon, it was like super cheap, like $15 or $20. Like that.
Wow, I have a vintage one of those for my razors.
And, yeah, he has a vintage one too, and it was like crumbling apart. Like the leather was so old, and it was just crumbling.
Mine has a similar problem. But I don't want to dick around with trying different strop styles for my razors because I'm not good enough to salvage the edge on a straight razor. I'm fine with an axe. I'm great with a bush knife. But my razors, no, not gonna happen.
Yeah, that's one of these things. That's for the old safety razors. The single blade on both sides.
Yeah.
It looks
That's what
like
I use.
it's like about this big, and the blade goes inside it, and it's got 2 leather straps on wheels. And you crank it like a pencil sharpener, and it like flips the blade back and forth and straps both sides of it. And man, you wouldn't believe how sharp those blades stay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to say, okay, good night, Rolling Homestead. Have a good one. Everyone say bye. Yeah. Which means that I am nice. Oh, apparently they've since outlawed the Baofangs.
It's not necessary. It's not wholly true.
Mark was just saying, okay. Apparently their frequency selecting wasn't precise enough, and there was whoops.
Oh, in Canada.
And there were too many complaints. Might just be Canada, but I thought it was both countries. Are there issues with Baofangs in the States too?
It was a very similar thing. The FCC, which is like the Federal Communications Commission.
Yeah, they're like the CRTC for you guys. Okay. Yeah.
Brought down an open letter that basically said if you were caught transmitting frequencies that you weren't supposed to be, they did temporarily ban the import of them until Baofeng software restricted their ban allocation.
Okay.
Because off the shelf you could get them and transmit unabated on public service frequencies and.
Okay.
Well, guys, I'm gonna get to bed myself.
All right. Have yourself a good one, mister.
Likewise. We'll see you guys.
Take care. Take care.
Yep. By the way, Dennis, as soon as COVID's over and my band is playing, so I've got money again, I want to get some of these done for my channel too, okay?
Yeah, man.
Because this thing is robust. This thing is still there, and I've been washing this.
Is it insulated, Jesse?
Sorry?
Is that insulated?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's got one of Dennis's stickers on it, and it's been just rock solid. So
I've been really enjoying my Yeti.
Oh, you got a Yeti, yeah.
Those things are freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. The lid is not super great on it, like the clear plastic lid, but it keeps water surprisingly cold for like my whole work day, basically.
Last week, that was the big complaint. Almost everybody at our campsite, we had 10 of us up north camping, and almost everybody that was drinking coffee had Yetis, and we all complained that we couldn't drink our coffee because it kept them too damn hot.
Yeah.
Right? So you'd be sitting there with the lid off the thing, blowing on it, trying to cool it off.
Yeah.
It took you 2.5 hours to drink a cup of coffee.
This thing here, this thing will keep my tea hot, like at least relatively hot, all the way to the next day. Is that a Lafroig you're drinking?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I've never had that one.
It's one of the cheaper ones.
Really?
But it's nice.
Kevin Callan's going to come popping in, and he's
did I hear whiskey? Yeah. I'm getting dangerously low on scotch.
Yeah, I met myself as well. I'm just having a little nip before I sign off.
Yeah, I'm getting dangerously low on scotch. The COVID thing has introduced me to things like rye and bourbon in a big way because I've been, as some of you guys know, I've been doing like bushcraft cocktails. Yeah. I have another one of those. I have my fourth and probably final one of those coming out maybe next Friday. But on Facebook, I've been making doing Facebook Live. I've been doing cocktails like a lot. And you don't want to mix a single malt scotch.
No.
You don't. The flavor's no good, and you're wasting money because some scotch is money.
You don't want to mix that with Coke, no?
No.
Kidding.
What was the one you were drinking last week, Jesse? It was like a seaweed something.
Oh, the saltwater kelp.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I finished that one this week. While I was filming the making of this, I finished that bottle. Bottle. Yes.
Oh, I was just gonna say. By the way, I piped in like just after you were showing off the knife sheath there.
Yeah.
And yes, you did a great job on it.
I'm very happy with it. For
You
my
might
first
not be
knife
happy
sheath,
with the stitching or whatever, but you know what? I
Well,
think it looks fantastic.
this side's not so nice, but this side, I'm happy with it.
Looks
No,
great.
that looks great.
For my first time around, I think.
I'm envious because I've never made one, and I know my first one's going to be a real hack.
Well, you know what?
You're brave
because
showing your first one as a gift.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that really that added a certain amount of stress to it, right? I got to get this at least remotely right because it's not for me; it's for my daughter. I did a few steps completely ass backwards, which is part of the reason why it doesn't look so good. Like, whatever, it's going to be in the video, but a couple of cheats I did was when I put this all together, I trimmed it with my X-Acto knife to get it sort of straight, and then I went over my belt sander like this.
There's a Newfoundland YouTuber. I think I linked him in your Facebook post with the sheet, or maybe it was last week's video. I'm not sure. Anyway, he makes knives and sheets. Kyle Nodsworthy. He always
Kyle, yeah.
He always uses a belt sander for
Does he?
leather. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kyle's a good guy. His stuff is I watch him all the time. And
his knives are really nice.
I would love to know what his price list is like. The knives, some of them are not exactly my style, but some of them I really, really like. What's that one that he makes a lot of? The Apple Crisp. What the hell's that one called? You know, his sort of basic.
The Bake Apple.
The Bake Apple. I would love to find out why he's calling it the Bake Apple.
I don't know if it's what it has reference to the actual knife itself, but bake apples are a plentiful berry on bogs.
Oh, okay. So it's
cloudberry is a more common name for it. We call it bake apple here.
Oh, so bake apples are cloudberries.
Like orange berry, big size of a raspberry.
I know what a cloudberry is. Yeah. I didn't know what. Interesting. Okay.
So I don't know what reference that the name of the knife has to the actual berry, but it's
well, I mean, it's a bushcraft knife, and he's referencing flora or fauna, right? Yeah. So okay, now it all becomes clear to me. Yeah.
No, they're a nice little small knife. The Bake Apple he makes.
It's funny because you reminded me of a conversation that I have a lot
for the Bake Apple. Is this what I was going to say?
140.
Yeah,
it's a pretty good price for. Jesus, man, you took it out. What the hell was I about to say? You distracted me with 140. Really? That's pretty good.
So it says in the description. It doesn't have any listed in his store right now.
I was going to say something brilliant and hilarious, but I've forgotten it.
It'll come back to you after the stream ends.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Dennis.
Yeah.
You know how Joe, I don't know if this is the last canoe he got from Swift or the one before. You know how they sort of did like you did on the bottom of your canoe, but they sort of baked it right into the canoe itself?
Yeah.
I wonder what the upcharge is for something like that.
For Joe, probably nothing.
For Joe, nothing. But I mean, if you sort of said, yeah, I want that Joe treatment with my logo there, eh? I wonder what that would cost. Like, do you think that would be like a $500 upcharge or like a $300 upcharge?
I've got their price list somewhere, but I don't know if they'll do that just for anybody. I think.
Yeah, I think it's just a Joe thing.
Yeah. Like who else did they do that for? I think they've done that for Joe twice now.
Okay. So what I got to do is get like 1 million subs, and then they'll do it for me.
Yeah, and you have to sell them a shit ton of canoes, right?
Okay, just let me take notes.
Get on a loan and lose your barrel rod 2 days in.
That's not funny.
I was talking to him last week, and he actually just picked up his brand new canoe. He was supposed to have gotten it around the time of Canoecopia. He was supposed to pick up a Canoecopia.
Yeah.
And because that all fell through, and back and forth because of where he lives and where they are, he never picked it up until like a week and a half ago. So.
Well, I'm pretty sure that they were okay with. Well, they were closed up, right?
They were closed up for production, yeah, and
Yeah.
and for sales, but they've been back open now for about a month.
Yeah.
They sure look a lot nicer than the old Coleman canoe we had growing up when I was a kid.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, but those Colemans were like a classic, though.
Oh, and you couldn't
Heavy as
build one of
hell.
those things.
Yeah. Yeah, bomb proof.
I drove by because we were up north there. I drove by their Gravenhurst store.
Yeah.
And they're pretty low on canoes there. They don't have an awful lot there. Not like they usually do. When you drive there, usually they probably got like 250, 300 canoes in the yard, right?
Wow, really?
Nowhere near that. Nowhere near that right now. So
Interesting.
they're playing a little catch up, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't really blame them, can you?
No.
You know, I'm switching it up to tea. Tea's a good drink.
What's I'm drinking? I found a nice little stash of chaga there when I was up north too.
I'm terrible at trying to find chaga.
Yeah.
I just can't do it.
I found a tree, Jess, I'm telling you, and it looked like it was just, instead of leaves, it had chaga.
Wow.
The only problem was it was about 25 feet up it started. I couldn't get it. And I sat under the thing and just kind of drooled, right? It's like, God, I want you to get up
fall
there.
into my mouth.
Yeah. But no, the thing, and they were all nice, big softball sized clumps, and they were all over the place, but they're all up so high. It's like crap. Then I found one tree that had one clump on the bottom, and I grabbed it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know if chaga grows in Newfoundland. I wouldn't know it if I saw it. I don't think.
If you got white birch trees, or any kind of birch, white, silver, or yellow, then you'll have chaga.
A lot of silver birch here.
Yeah, you have to find it though. Like not every tree has it. I'd say 1 in every 100 you might be lucky, right?
And it's not the same as like the horse's hoof fungus, right?
No, horsehoof fungus is totally different.
Yeah, and so does horsehoof grow on the dead trees then?
Only on the dead trees, yes. And chaga will be on the dead trees too, but when a birch tree dies,
it's over for the chaga.
It loses its value, like its goodness, right?
Yeah.
Then it's only good for like a fire carrier or something like that, or for starting fire.
There's no chaga around where Grace lives, she says.
Which is where?
I don't remember, Grace. I don't remember where you said you live. She's in
I guess there must be chaga here because there's a distillery that sells a chaga rum here.
Chaga rum.
It's won some sort of award in 2018.
Dude, I'm sending you my address, and I'm PayPaling you some money. I wonder how much that even costs.
I don't know. It all goes through the Newfoundland Liquor Corporation, which is like
we have the SAQ. The SAQ here is the same deal.
But I don't know how much the prices are. But yeah,
I think you're right on that.
Chaga rum. It's a premium spirit made using 5-year-old Demerara rum from Guyana, and infused with chaga from Central Newfoundland and honey from Grand Falls. So it uses local honey and chaga and Guyana rum.
Now, here's the thing about stuff like that, because Quebec has a booming distillery industry right now, micro distillery or not. And at least one of my bushcraft cocktails, I realized I use this Quebec specific gin that no one's going to be able to buy. Why the hell am I doing that to people?
They sell a couple of gins too. This is the Newfoundland Distillery Company. They sell a seaweed gin, which you might like given your Dulce whiskey, and a cloudberry gin.
Can you URL me in the private chat? Because I know you can't post to the public chat. I mean, it's not like I can order these anyway, but here's the thing. My scotch, I buy in Alberta, right? You guys know this, right? I buy most of my scotch in Alberta, and either my fiddler brings it to me, or I have the guys at the Kensington Wine Market walk across the street to UPS and hand it off to them. Because in Quebec, the market for the spirits that I like is very, very narrow. Quebec is the fourth largest market in the world for Porto, but it's a terrible market for things like Scotch or most whiskeys, And don't get me wrong, I like me some Porto, but I kind of prefer the whiskeys and the Scotch. And so I end up buying these things, especially like that bottle of the salt and vinegar kelp. I can't buy another bottle of that. They had, the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society, they buy one keg and they do 276 bottles or whatever that keg size will do. And then you can't buy it again. So I kind of wish I'd bought two of those. But in Canada, they're only sold in Alberta and BC because those are the only two places with a Scotch Malt Whiskey Society location.
Their website says the Chaga rum is available at SAQ.
Oh, does it? Okay, I'll take a look for it then.
Sometimes you got to request it, right?
Maybe you have to order it. Oh,
it says it is now available through SAQ across Quebec. Then the other spirits are available as private order through Celeste Vin, whatever that is.
Okay.
But I guess that would be by the case, probably.
Yeah, when you order it, it's usually by the case or by the half case. Brandon says, I think Swift are playing catch up, but I also think sales have been great for them with not much for anyone to do but camp.
I think it probably is, but probably not as good as normal because they've missed out on a lot of outdoor shows.
Yeah.
Because of all this, and that's where they generate a lot of sales. Like I bought mine at the Toronto Outdoor Show, and I bet you at the Toronto Outdoor Show they probably sell a couple hundred units on a weekend.
Well, that's what I'd like to know. No, that's a curiosity that I have. Like, how much of their yearly sales? How much or how many? What percentage of their yearly sales comes from someone walking up to them at Canoecopia or whatever and saying, me, I'm going to buy a canoe. Let's deal. Versus people like me who would go to their website, take some choose a few options, drop them a line, whatever the online process is, because I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the vast majority of their sales probably don't come from people walking in off the street, considering where most of their locations are. Mm-hmm. I mean, they obviously do sales like that, but I'm imagining that a large percentage of their sales happen at shows.
Yeah.
I would be so excited if I could walk up to the Swift booth at a trade show or whatever and say, oh, I'm going to buy one, guys. I don't even know if I'd be able to get the words out. I'd be all like sweaty palms and everything. But wouldn't the best way to order a canoe be to speak to them?
Yeah, well, that's what I say. Like, I went there and I totally had a different model in mind when I picked mine up, and I when I started talking to them, well, I had an idea I was going to get a prospector, but I kind of had the Keewaydin in mind. And once we got talking, they know their canoes, they really do.
Yeah,
and they put me into one that I agree now 100% it's a perfect one because it's got the extra payload capacity, right? But yeah, I'll tell you, my daughter and I walked around that show, probably did about 10 extra laps. Me thinking, okay, do I actually want to drop that kind of money on it? And finally, I just said, to hell with it.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? It was like 3,000-4,000?
Yeah, it was closer to the $4,000 mark. So with tax and everything, right?
Yeah.
But if you're using it all the time, that's like.
I'll tell you, I love both my canoes. I've got the Novacraft Prospector, but it's a tandem canoe, and then this one here being the solo pack boat. And I'll tell you, I'm getting ready for my August canoe trip, and I'm really hoping we have odd numbers. so I could solo.
So you can solo.
Yeah.
It's funny because I saw Swift everywhere. Jonathan, I think you know that I don't have a canoe right now. Then I'm saving up for a big ticket canoe at some point, but have the wifely permission to Kijiji something as an interim. And a lot of what I am looking for has been influenced by the people I've been seeing on the YouTubes. Specifically, Dennis right there, and Joe, and Alexis Outdoors. What the hell's her name? Karina?
Karina, yes.
Her less, because I discovered her way after you guys, but it sort of solidified these beautiful canoes with that weird tumble home thing happening. But I still also have, I recently remembered kind of the warmth I feel towards Novacraft as well. I think because they're they're also such sort of a Canadiana brand.
Mm-hmm.
I like things that are classics. You don't get much more classic than the Fender Precision bass, okay? Essentially unchanged since the 1950s. The first mass-marketed electric bass guitar, right? And what's beautiful about such a classic is one pickup, volume, tone, that's it, right? Every bass player has one of these. And I love classics that way. There's nothing spectacular about that bass. In fact, they're ugly as hell, to be honest with you. But the thing about classic anything is, because when I was younger, I always wanted the unique thing, right? I'm not buying a Fender Precision. Everyone's got that. I want something spectacular and unique. But the problem with spectacular and unique is if you have a problem, you don't necessarily know anyone who's had that problem. Whereas if you go for a classic that everyone has at least had at one point in their life, and any problem you can come up with, someone's had that problem and fixed it, right? You can go on to Facebook and say, guys, I have this problem. Hive mind. Anyone out there have one of these? And someone's like, oh yeah, here's what I did. Right? So there's a safety in buying the classic that isn't the unique, spectacular, blah, blah, blah. And I think that Swift will be a classic Canadian brand at one point. The way what the hell was the company that made that original Prospector? The red canoe in in the NFB films with Bob. That was that canoe company. But certain things are absolute classics, and I think Swift will be one of those classics one day. I would call them a new classic right now.
The reason why Swift, one of the reasons why Swift has gained so much notoriety is the fact that the Swift family has such a steep history in Algonquin, and everybody seems to be on this huge Algonquin kick right now. And the only canoe, one of the main canoes you can rent there is a Swift, right?
Yeah.
It's because, Algonquin Outfitters is owned by part of the Swift family, right? So
are they? That makes sense considering the canoes they've got.
Yeah. Well, one of the brothers, right? One of the brothers, Bill did Swift Canoes, and one of the other brothers did Algonquin Outfitters, which was started by Bill Swift Sr.
Yeah, okay.
So
I watched a few of the Chris Prouse videos where she rents the canoes from Algonquin.
Yeah,
this looks like a fun trip.
I think Chris and Julia just picked up another Swift because they were without a canoe for about a year. And I think Swift kind of sponsored them a canoe,
Nice.
or loaned them one. They loaned them one for the summer.
Okay.
So they need one for 3 now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they got cedar now, right? So,
I would like to have them on one day specifically. I follow several people who have young children that they bring to the bush with them, and that would be a panel discussion I would love to have. Hey, Tyler's here. How's it going?
Hey, Tyler, how you doing, buddy?
Brother Love, how's it going? You're late, but you're here. We're still on for another 20 minutes. Oh yeah, Tenenbaum says chestnut canoes. Yeah, that's true. But that, the thing is, Dennis, that doesn't mean that Swift is only big because of all that, right? I mean,
no.
You love the canoe. Everyone I know who has a Swift is like, these things is the bomb. And I find that people who have Novacraft are very similarly attracted to that tech and that quality.
Well, that's what I say. I've got one of each, right?
Yeah.
So I love my Novacraft equal. Actually, I've owned. This is my fourth Novacraft canoe that I've owned.
Wow.
And the reason being is because they have a great quality product, right? Not to say like H2O doesn't. They make great canoes too, and all these other companies, right? But they all have their technology that they deal with in, right? But Swift Canoe, they build a good looking canoe and good quality canoe.
And they got a real unique line to them.
Yeah.
There's something about that tumble home, that sort of like boom on the sides.
Yep.
Yeah.
I haven't been in a canoe since I was a teenager, but Dad still has his Coleman from the 80s, but it's got a hole on the side of it. Somebody backed into it with a tractor or something.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, how the hell? You get a hole.
I was reading up on how to repair them, but apparently it's not very easy to repair the old. I think it's like high density polyethylene or something like that, and it's not very easy to repair. And they said the cheapest way to repair it is to replace it. So.
Wow, that's too bad.
Fit for the garbage. But.
We got some notes here. Brandon says he loves dealing with the Swift team. I'd forgotten that you were Team Swift as well. I've got a couple of notes here. Tenenbaum says, I would describe Swift as the leader in terms of innovation and use of modern materials. Novacraft is a little more traditional and leans a little more towards durability over lightness and high performance. That seems to be what I've been picking up from owners on both sides. I'm still actively saving up for a Swift, but I would love to have the kind of canoe spread that you have, Dennis, like a solo Swift and a tandem Novacraft at some point, or the other. I just think it would be cool to have one of each, because like just everything that I see of these two canoes is that there are so many ways to go with what is ostensibly a very simple design, right? Canoe. But no, there are many, many different. And like that one, did you guys see that Zyla Foxland video where she built a cedar strip canoe with her uncle? I linked to it.
Yeah.
The lines of that thing are unique, man. You know how the stem and stern come way, way back like this? It's almost like a round thing.
Yeah.
And I went to the website because I was like, that looks really weird. And it's to extend the sort of the water cutting shape as much as possible, but reduce the possibility of it getting blown by wind. His theory is that the traditional stem and stern to a canoe that sort of comes up could act a little bit like a sail in a really windy situation. So he just took out the part that is the most sail-like. And I've always sort of seen the canoe as, look, it's a pretty traditional thing. They've probably done all the damn designs, and then suddenly, like Swift, every year comes out with something brilliant and new. And this guy is building canoes with like these rounded.
Yeah, it's starting to come up with too many models, too many choices, though. You know, like they're going to spread themselves thin. I see Tenenbaum saying Surrey River is another great Canadian one. Winona Canoes is another great brand. You know.
Oh yes, sorry, yeah. There's all kinds. There's all kinds of canoe makers out there, and like they all bring. First of all, one thing I've noticed is no two companies make the exact same Prospector.
No.
They're all sort of doing their own homage to the original. Like most of them seem to be respectful, but everyone brings their own little swagger to it, you know? And it's just, it keeps showing me like how magical this thing is, that you can take a boat with that few elements to it and create hundreds of different, just sometimes the differences are small, sometimes the differences are huge. You know, this guy makes one with a flat ass, you know, a flat ass on it so you can stick a motor on it. Okay,
Yeah.
could see that coming. You know, this guy rounds the hell out of him at the two ends to reduce wind shear or whatever. This guy does this guy does that, and it's almost always, that's bombast. I don't know if it's almost always, from what I've been looking at, because I want to buy the right canoe at some point. I read and watch and speak to pretty much everything I can, but I'm not exploring hundreds of different companies, right? I've looked at H2O, I've looked at Novacraft, I've looked at Swift, I've looked at there's something else that Mountain Equipment Co-op carries. You know, obviously I've looked at Pelican because, you know, if you walk into a Canadian Tire, there's a Pelican sitting there, right? Langford, I think I looked at.
Yeah,
I
like
don't know much about canoe time. I'm guessing each of these has a specific use case that they're most attuned to as well. So you really got to be careful if you want to do lake canoeing, not to buy a canoe that's designed for river canoeing.
Yeah, you know, there are certain that are geared really geared towards whitewater and stuff. I don't know how big the differences really are versus how much marketing is at play here. I just like the Prospector. I like the look of it, but I haven't sat in enough canoes to really go to the mats over that. It's just, that's sort of what that's what I have in my head. You know, that's my future purchase in my head. But I mean, if I go to, you know, Canoecopia or something and I walk up to the Swift table, like Dennis says, you know, I may walk up there and say, I want a Prospector because I'm a real traditionalist and I love this, that, and the other that I've read about it. And they may be able to sort of say, well, no, you know, because maybe you're going to take your daughter and a dog or something. Maybe you want the Keewaydin Combi, right?
yeah.
I was in a store when I was in Florida a couple years ago. Just I'm pretty sure you would love to go to. It's called Bill Jackson's Shop for Adventure.
Okay.
And they have like every kind of kayaking canoe that you can imagine there, and they got a little lake that you can try them out on. And I was only there for a few minutes, like because you know the family was with me, so I couldn't spend my time that I really wanted to spend there. But man, they had everything for the outdoors, for hunting, fishing, everything. It was like an amazing little store in Tampa, or just outside of Tampa, Florida.
That sounds cool. Hey, Dennis.
Yeah.
One thing that Jonathan just said reminded me, like, when you're ordering this thing at the show, like, you can't get into them and see if you really like the feel. Is it as big like on a mountain bike? You got to get on the thing and bounce around a bit. Do you need to do that as much with a canoe?
At the show, they'll take a canoe down. You sit on it on the floor, get a feel for it. Oh yeah. And that's what I did, because I actually sat in like the Keewaydin. What's the other one that they have there? One of the other ones, and they're really narrow, and just on the floor even they felt they have a little more rocker on the bottom, so you had you know, they were a little more twisty, right?
Yeah.
But once I sat in a Prospector, me being like 6'1", I weigh 220. As soon as I sat in a Prospector, I knew it was a fit for me. Mind you, I have the opportunity to paddle them. But if you do go to their shops, one of their stores, you can gladly, you know, they'll get you out and paddle one if you had to. So, and
like, I watched Kevin Callan's video on how to size an oar, a paddle.
Yep.
He has a slightly non-traditional way of doing it, but like, it's pretty important to get that right, I think. So how did you size your paddles? You're 6'1"?
I'm 6'1", yeah. Well, 6'1.5", but who's counting, right? Yeah. Well, you know what? I went by their expertise when I went to pick the canoe up. I hadn't purchased the paddle yet, so I picked up one of the Werners that they had in their shop, and they basically told me, okay, given my height, right, and the paddle the canoe I was getting, they told me, what was it? I can't even remember the length, of 215 or so. It's one of the bigger ones, and the reasoning that they said is because of the tumble home on it. You have to be able to have that reach out there, right?
Get around it, yeah.
You're short, then you're just going to shower yourself.
And you got a double, right? Because yours is a pack boat.
Yeah, it's a pack boat.
Yeah.
I got double blade for it, but I do paddle it with a single blade as well.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah, I just use a shorter single blade, which works perfect. Actually, if you watch my last video, the solo trip, you'll see a bunch of different scenes where some I'm using the double blade, some I'm using the single blade.
Yeah. In fact, why? Like, what makes you decide between one or the other?
I was just testing it out at that time, but I wanted to I got to carry a spare paddle, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not going to carry another double blade. So I'll just carry a single blade, but I wanted to make sure if I'm going to carry one, I want to carry one that's the proper size. I don't want to carry a bigger one.
Yeah.
That's overkill. And I tested, like when I did my a paddle on one of our local waterways here, I brought like 3 or 4 paddles with me, and I tried them all out just to see which one was going to be the most comfortable. And the one that was the most comfortable was the cheapest, crappiest one that I picked up from a Canadian Tire.
Hey, it's legit. Sometimes that's just the way it is.
Yeah. So now I know the length of it, and now I'll pick up a nice one, right?
What the hell happened to Hunter and was it Hunter and Harris?
You know what? I don't know. I don't know if COVID closed their doors on them, or if it was just their time and they used COVID as an excuse, or I don't know.
Yeah, I would love to know what's going on, because the wording of their announcement didn't make it sound like COVID was the culprit.
Yeah.
But I was sorry to see them go, because I really liked what I saw of their stuff. I was like, I'm getting one of those. But
I was hoping to see them at the next Toronto Outdoor Show so I could go in there and order a paddle. But
yeah,
not going to happen now.
Nope.
Now you hate seeing a small business. It's small family-run business, right? You hate seeing a small family-run business that creates good quality product go under.
Yeah, you never want to see a small business.
I shouldn't assume go under. Right? Maybe it was just their time to say, you know what, we're done doing this now, but yeah, sucks.
Yeah, it's too bad. Yeah. Just taking a look.
The funny part is too, like all these small businesses, because they can't show their wares at shows right now, it's very hurtful for them. Like
very tough.
My buddies there from Kid Products, they really rely on doing the show circuit to sell their product, right? Because they are in some stores, but they're not in a lot of the big box stores, like say like Sale or Canadian Tire or whatever, as much as they would like to. But so they really rely on the shows to be able to show their product, explain their product, and sell their product.
Yeah.
And right now the guys are sitting on like a shit ton of stoves because they missed like probably 5 or 6 big outdoor shows that they were supposed to attend, right?
And well, here's the thing, like I keep thinking about, like, my situation ain't great, but it sure as hell ain't bad, right? I'm still working my day job.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't throw any money at Bush stuff or YouTube stuff or anything, because I don't make enough to buy any of that stuff without my gigging income. Okay. But I have to say that, okay, it's a drag for me. There are people in much, much worse situations. But what it means is there are so many outdoor companies putting these wicked sales on through Instagram and stuff right now. I'm like, oh man, I wish I had some money right now.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's this really weird space that like a lot of these companies are hurting. And a lot of the people who would be helping them not hurt anymore can't bloody do it.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You can't sit on inventory, right?
You can't sit on inventory. No way.
Put out, $50,000 worth of inventory, then that's 50 grand you're sitting on, right? So better to sell it at a reduced rate and recoup some of your investment than to just sit on it, right?
Yeah, I get that.
Up, yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, sell at a almost razor thin margin is better than it just sitting there and costing you.
That's right. Yep.
What was the name of the company with the stoves you're talking about?
How do you spell kid? Is it KYD? No.
KIHD.
KIHD.
Yeah, Kid Products, Kid Outdoor Products.
Yeah. But as I was about to say, but as Simon says, sale is under bankruptcy protection.
Yeah.
So things weren't going
Actually,
so well.
they closed one Quebec store, didn't they? And then they closed two of our more local stores to me here. One in Etobicoke and one in Vaughan, which are both Toronto burbs.
Yeah.
It's too bad. Well, I hope they could pull it off because they got a Burlington, Ontario store that I go to often.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that store. I love that store. I hope they don't have to close that one too.
Yeah, I don't know what the world is going to look like post-COVID. I'm not sorry that there will be fewer Starbucks in Canada, but I am sorry that, for every small company that disappears, that hurts the character of the country.
Mm-hmm.
The way losing a Walmart or a Starbucks just doesn't,
And the Walmart will swoop in and feed off of this.
Oh, Walmart, Amazon. Yeah.
Sure will, absolutely.
And then there's no room for the small shops to come back.
Yeah, and the smaller shops are the shops that play a part in sort of the national face, sort of the cultural retail space of an area. It's Second Cup, Starbucks, Walmart. These are not playing the game,
They got a Starbucks opening right next to my shop. They've been building it, and then they got stopped building it because of COVID. Now they started back up again. So it's like, oh boy, Tim Hortons across the street and a Starbucks next door. It's like,
yeah, that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
If you can't see a Tim Hortons from the Starbucks or a Starbucks from the Tim Hortons, you're not doing it right.
Yeah,
I know, right?
Yeah.
Oh, these kids' stoves look nice.
Dennis, Simon was talking to you here. He says, sale closed at least 4 stores of a sub-brand. It was called Sportium. I didn't know they were closing Sportiums.
I've heard of that. I don't think there are any around here.
No, probably not. Yeah, Grace, support local business. Absolutely. I would, if I'm feeling the need for a latte, instead of going to a Starbucks or a Second Cup, I'll hunt out some local third wave place. There's a couple in town that I like, and hope to hell they're still there after the COVID thing is done. It says where Simon is, they're converting a Second Cup to an A&W.
Yeah, all the Second Cups here, and I don't know, maybe across Canada, but the ones here in St. John's are not reopening after COVID.
What, the A&Ws?
No, the
Second Cup.
Okay.
I'll tell you, our nearest A&W is doing a brisk business with my family.
With your family.
Yeah.
The drive-through fast food places are making it like bandits from this. There's a Dairy Queen near my house, and they didn't even bother reopening their dining room because they were making such good business on the drive-through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I get that too. I mean, I don't want to sit in somebody's dining room right now.
No.
I don't. I'm in sort of what they call the danger zone because I have asthma. I have a daughter who's in the danger zone as well. We're not dicking around.
No.
We're not doing anything that could increase the possibility of bringing that crap into my house.
Yeah.
You know,
Like we've only got a few
we're
cases here in
running
Newfoundland, but
here.
you still got to be careful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like we just had yesterday, a bunch of American servicemen came in on a 24-hour turnaround, and instead of isolating like they were supposed to, they went to the shops and the bars downtown.
It's terrible. Oh, it's 11 o'clock. So thanks to you guys for coming on. Oh, bye, Jonathan. It's okay. Thanks to everyone who's been hanging out with us in the side chat. And thanks to Jonathan and Simon for not Simon. Simon is like right on the. Just let me get Simon off the screen here. Thanks to Jonathan and Dennis for hanging out to the bitter end. Thanks to all of you. Oh, Jonathan, the battery died in his tablet. That is the best timing ever, Jonathan. Thanks as always to Tenenbaum for hanging out from Sweden. The sun's got to be coming up there right now.
Take care of it, Tenenbaum.
Yeah. So thanks a lot, guys. Everybody stay safe, stay healthy, stay sane, and be kind to each other. See you guys next week.
Is alive.
All right.